아이가 김밥을 먹어요.
김밥을 sounds tense in the middle. 김밥.
김밥을. 아이가 김밥을 먹어요.
What I mean by that. Kimbap, this word for like a sushi like food. Aika, let's translate it first. Get that out of the way. For type, a little more challenging. Aika, the child. Kimbab을 먹어요. The verb is eats at the end. 먹어요. Kimbab을, marked specifically as object, is kimbap. Which in RR, revised romanization, is spelled like that. So I'm looking at Korean. Oh yeah, let's turn that off. And okay, eats kimbap.
김밥을.
So the letter for letter, the way the word is spelled, kim first syllable, and then another syllable. RR, revised romanization, is the official way to write Korean names and words, phrases, with letters of the Latin alphabet, like we're doing here. For short, RR. Promulgated by the South Korean government. Romanization, I think in the year 2000. That's what we're using. It's a very good system, very well designed, does what it is intended to do very elegantly, but it's not an exhaustive or an exact one-to-one representation of the writing system or the sound system. It can't really be all of those things. It's got to be some sort of compromise. That's one of the things it's designed to do and does. And what I'm hearing, possibly, this is computer generated, so we take it with a grain of salt, but in certain words, the sound will be as if it was this tense initial with the double letter, kimbap. And I think that would come from an older Korean grammar where you had a gims. Let me keep the... So, morpheme boundary. There was a genitive suffix s, which is still written in some cases, but in others, bap. It, I think, is underlyingly there, but shows up in secondary ways, such as here. It seems likely to me that this was a possessive marked word of the kim, whatever that is, bap, the food, a certain kind. So this s is like specifying, right? It's modifying a specifier for this second component, which is the head of the compound. In the case where according to what I've read, a similar thing happens is kokiri for elephant. The modern writing does it something like this. So angle brackets for written representation. Ko, and then syllable boundary. Tense ki, and then a final syllable ri. But the structure of that is, let's use slashes here, or just a star for what it once was, ko, and then this s, and then the verb to belong is gil, and it had, or gil really, the plain one, not the aspirated, not the tense, but the basic velar stop there, and then a derivational suffix e from long. So nose, genitive, some kind of function like that, long, verb root, and a derivational affix. These are the meaningful parts of the word. And so what happened is this sequence SG coincided with a double G, which is a double written letter and a tense consonant sound.
먹어요.
Outcome of koskili, and gimbap being the outcome of gimspap, perhaps.
누구가 치맥을 먹습니까?
누구가. Interesting that it's both, that it's nu and a separate suffix marker. Wouldn't it be nuga? Is that a variant? Meaning who? 치맥을, chicken and beer. 먹습니까? This is an interrogative form, polite. 누구가, who eats 치맥, chicken and beer.
누구가,
So
누구가, 치맥을,
the first syllable, chi, is from the English word chicken, and mek from Sino-Korean word for beer, mekju. Who eats chicken and beer?
불고기는 맛있습니까?
불고기는 맛있습니까? So an incorporated verb here. The root is exist in a place, 있다.
맛있습니까?
Some high
맛있습니까?
formality suffixes there. And then mat, first
맛있습니까?
component. The written S shifts over. It's
맛있습니까?
no longer a T as it would be in isolation, which sounds as she. 맛있습니다. Mat is a noun now, meaning taste, good tastingness. If it's there, then the food tastes good. Flavorful, basically. This.
맛있습니까?
불고기 is barbecue, 불고기. And the question is what is asked. Whether it is, so the verb goes first in English, and then delicious. So this one is a single English word with the common adjectival suffix. In Korean, though, the structure is quite different. You have your existential root, and it's compounded with the theme, the thing that exists, flavor. Flavor.
맛있습니까?
So, 있다 is, to exist in a place, but kind of also to have.
저는 매일 김치를 먹습니다.
저는, topic I, 매일, every day, adverbial there coming before the verb phrase proper. 김치를, object kimchi, 먹습니다. I eat kimchi every day. So this K spelling for kimchi is older than RR. It's just inertia in the English spelling. It's written with
매일.
downright as a G. Kimchi, where the chi is one of the strongly aspirated consonants.
저는 매일 김치를 먹습니다.
Eat kimchi, we put verb, then object in English. And an adverbial thing is good outside of the verb phrase proper, here on the other end in English, at the end of the sentence. In Korean, sounds good here, right after the topic, marked nun, at the beginning of our comment
매일,
section of the sentence.
김,
Kim, seaweed. Okay, seaweed food is kimbap, or seaweed rice. Rice food, cooked food is bap.
김치는 비쌉니까?
비쌉니까? So starting with the written
비쌉니까?
here, that's all suffix. The verb root,
비쌉니까?
tada, with a tense S there. Written with a double letter there.
비쌉니까?
Like a happy smiley face, chuckling face there. That's 쌉. 김치는, the topic is kimchi. 비싸다 is to be expensive, a stative verb. Is kimchi expensive? Alright.
김,
Kim, seaweed.
김,
So that's the plain letter G, G sound. It'll be lightly aspirated word initially, like this.
김,
So it sounds like a K more in this position. If it's between two vowels, it'll be more of a G voice G sound.
치맥을 먹읍시다.
But it reflects the same underlying consonant. 치맥을, object beer, 먹습시다. So a polite request, imperative form. Eat 치맥, chicken and beer. Let's eat. Hortative, I believe. So here, mok is the root, just that first syllable, and then upsida is all suffix, all ending. Various ways you could segment it. I'm still kind of working on that.
김밥,
Kimbap is seaweed, rice, kimbap.
불고기,
bulgogi. There's one too. So written with a B, as the word initial sound, it's going to devoice and have slight aspiration, not the heavy kind.
불고기,
Bulgogi. So kind of an F sound there, in that transition from the sealed lips, stop, pul, to the high vowel with rounded lips, bulgogi.
불고기,
Bulgogi. There's a little bit of air coming out with it. The ear perceives that too. And it distinguishes these initial sounds from each other.
김치, 김밥, 불고기, 김,
Kimchi, kimbap, bulgogi, kim. A list of 4 foods. Kimbap, bulgogi, laver. Seaweed, I suppose. Never seen this word. Lovey. Perhaps I've seen it and I've just forgotten it. What is it? Okay, kind of water plant. Old English laver, lever, rush. From Latin, lawer, water plant. Interesting. I don't know of any Latin words ending in that sequence. Awer. Odd looking word. So for us, laver now, lava, General American lava, laver, laver. Laver or laver? Larva. Lava. I don't know what I like better there. Seaweed.
김치 파스타,
Kimchi pasta. So these ones,
파스타,
first and last syllable here, pa, ta, are aspirates. They have a lot of breath coming out with the stops. And chi,
김치,
second syllable, also aspirated.
한국에서 사람들이 치맥을 먹어요.
한국에서, in Korea, 사람들이, people, 치맥을 먹어요. Eat chicken and beer.
김과 밥,
김과 밥. Laver. Gua, in the middle written onto the first word, but it means and. Pop, rice. Seaweed and rice, yeah. So this word goes back in English to Old English, right, to 1,000 or more years ago, but before that it was a Latin word. So it's both inherited from Old English and borrowed, which is kind of cool. Words like street, and what else? Those are all plate and so on, old loan words from Latin, including things like pit even. Okay, let's continue with pronouns.
우리는 함께 방을 청소합니다.
우리, is that inclusive? Meaning we or our? 우리는 here, the topic, we, 함께, together. 방을, the room, object, 청소합니다, we clean it. Clean the room together. So even though the word order is different, if we think in terms of the phrases, the order is really quite has some important similarities. In English and Korean, we put our topic / subject first in both cases. The object is right next to
방을,
방을 청소합니다. Clean the room. In English, they're at the beginning of the topic segment of the sentence, but it's all together there in both languages. And then the 함께, together, is in the common part of the sentence, just outside that closer union of verb and object.
우리는 한국어를 사랑해요.
우리는 한국어로. So stem ends after the third one. All, the language. Koreanish.
한국어를
사랑해요. Love.
사랑해요.
We love Korean language.
아이가 빵을 싫어해요.
이가, child, subject. 빵을, bread, object. 싫어해요. Hates it. Does not like. The child hates bread. So a nice silent H here in that initial syllable. It's got nice 4-part structure. One for each corner. And they're
싫어해요. 싫어해요.
SILH, roughly. L will
싫어해요.
as more of an R, between vowels. Child hates bread. But I think it's pretty, to me it seems quite certain, relatively certain that the L is the basic value of the consonant.
싫어해요.
One is derived.
저는 그 남자를 미워합니다.
저는 the topic I 그 남자를 that man 미워합니다. 미워. So it looks like a derivative of a verb 밉다, which escapes me. Hate that man. 저는, as for me, that man object, hate him. So determiner precedes noun in both languages.
그
그
남자를
남자를, that man. And the I think, to my feeling, it's not really a suffix on this word. It's
저는 저는
marking the end of a whole phrase. It's in a different class of things we call an enclitic. So it's not really particularly choosy about the class word, if I'm right about that. It doesn't care about the word class.
남자를
It's with. It cares about the type of phrase.
우리는 개를 좋아합니다.
우리는 we 개를 dog object 좋아합니다. We like them. We like dogs. So this is the compound verb. Compound or sequential. 좋다.
좋아합니다.
Root, that is the first syllable, that nice stacking, J-O-H, means to be good when we have then a stem formant, a, added to that, 좋아, plus
좋아합니다.
root, 하다, after
좋아합니다.
it means to like. It's a transitive one. We like dogs. We could say 개가 would be the appropriate one. 좁니다, I guess. Don't know if I've ever seen that. 좁니다, does it make sense? HB. Oh, it would be EUB. 좋습니다, right? Yeah, 좁니다 doesn't work. So the H will be silent between vowels, but it still has an effect.
좋아합니다.
By the grammar of the inflection, by that part of the Korean grammar, H is still present as a consonant. So you select this variant.
나는 그것을 좋아합니다.
나는 그것을 that thing 좋아합니다. I like that. And again, the two part. To be good, 좋다, and do, 하다.
우리는 바다를 사랑합니다.
우리는 바다를, the sea object, 사랑합니다. We topic, the sea love.
나는 개를 싫어하지 않아요.
나는 개를 싫어하지 않아요. I don't do the hating of dogs. I don't dislike them. Do not hate dogs. What? Me hate dogs?
개가 나를 미워해요.
개가 나를, dog subject, me object, 미워해요, hates me.
이 여자는 우리를 미워해요.
이 여자는, this
이
woman top,
이 여자는 우리를 미워해요. 우리를 미워해요.
This woman hates us.
나는 차를 싫어합니다.
나는 차를 싫어합니다. I dislike the car. Or cars. It's not expressed there. Not distinguished in this instance. I dislike cars. Hate. I hate. Or tea. Yeah. Cha has both those meanings. They're both from Chinese. Take a moment to consider the hanja. So the one for car is more basic. Probably goes back earlier in Chinese. JWJ in this input system gets us ch in Chinese. Cha for the car, wheeled vehicle. Not a motor car, of course, like a cart or something viewed from above. And then the other cha is TOD, the second one. Grass on top. And then a phonetic part below, which is really, if you're interested, it's this OMD one. It's the phonetic component slightly altered. So this top one, ch, is a single depiction, right? It's a single thing, a drawing of a concrete object. Whereas this one is a compound character. It has a part to suggest the meaning, the grass on top, and another part to suggest the sound. And they give, as a whole, a derived character with a specific meaning. Cha means tea, the beverage.
이 여자는 우리를 미워해요.
So Korean is not genetically related to Chinese, but they have lots of borrowed words, many monosyllables too. And the ones that sound alike are different in Korean from the ones that are homophones in each Chinese dialect. 이 여자는, certain sound changes have occurred, very distinctive ones in Korean, since the time of the original borrowings. So this woman, 우리를, us, object, 미워해요, hates us.
저는 운동을 좋아합니다.
저는 운동을 좋아합니다. I like exercise. It's transitive.
나는 극장에서 영화를 봅니다.
극장에서, at the theater, 영화를, movie object, 봅니다. I watch it. The hater. The theater. Hi, Levi. Happy birthday. Oh, I was going to mention. Also received a Dao De Jing today for my birthday, and the Ursula K. Le Guin translation of it. I didn't know she'd done that. Well, cool. Many happy returns. Glad you could join us. Thought I'd be all stealthy and let you have a day to yourself.
나는 나다.
나는 나다. Nice homophony there. Different things though. Na meaning I. I think it's a humble pronoun. Nada, does that go out?
나다.
Am who I am. Or occur. So break out, occur, and hence be what you are. Love that. I am what I am. Who I am. So, did you enjoy the panini?
우리는 듀오링고를 사랑해요.
Imagine. It takes a lot of groundwork to even understand what the work is about and how it's organized, but I've got some things I can share with you. I was thinking we could do maybe as part of the normal series or as a separate thing, but Panini and grammar intro lessons, just like what we're doing now. I could read a passage, have you input it, get the written form,
사랑해요.
dissect it all. We could do it now if you're interested. I'd love to talk about some Sanskrit. We could do a bit of Hindi to get into the swing of it, maybe. Let us do that. Postpone the Turkish. 우리는, we topic. 듀오링고를 object. 사랑해요. We love Duolingo. These little particles at the end of each noun phrase are really helpful signposts
듀오링고를.
to help you decode the meaning of what's being said.
나는 극장에서 영화를 봅니다.
But like I said, not really suffixes on those nouns, but ending components of the noun phrases. Probably not a terribly meaningful distinction if you're just starting out in Korean, but a real one, I think. 나는, I, 극장에서, at the theater, movie watch. So we reverse the order inside of that second chunk. The comment, I watch a movie at the theater, the locative. 극장 is the noun, and then 에서, a locative ending. I don't really know the status of it. Is it a clitic? Is it a postposition? Both? Neither? So, is it two morphemes, a single thing? I don't have easy answers for that at this point.
나는 나다.
나는 나다. I am who I am. Okay, is it the pronoun taken as a verb root? How cool.
나는, 나다.
As for me,
나는, 나다.
I'm meing, basically.
나다. 나는,
What is up?
나는,
It does not want to copy or show me that it's copied at a certain size, but it's happy to otherwise. Na, nun, that's noun phrase A. The only noun phrase. The verb is nada. Root, suffix. But is this just the pronoun? Would it be nonun not nada? You're being you? Question that. Ask Lisa later. Ask 선생님. 너는 nada? No. So I used the question at the beginning to say I've got a question about this whole following chunk. Not that it is itself grammatically a question, but to be a sort of proposed comment on what follows. I am what I am. Just to get into Panini a little bit, the first sutra you will find is 111 Vrdhiradaich. And I'm going to use capital C. What on earth is Vrdhiradaich? 2 words. What it means, what this thing is saying, basically. Well, maybe first let's approach those forms, what they are. You won't find an ending ir in any grammar book, even though this is a noun. The basic form for a word like this, nominative singular, is vrdhi. This is a visarga. I use H and a colon because the character in Devanagari looks like a colon. Vrdhi, nominative singular. And then at, oh yeah, that should be capital too. This is a compound, a dvandva compound. Conjoining. At and ich is the meaning. I'll explain what those are. So here's the basic forms of the words before they're put together in an actual utterance. Nominative singular, technical term. The term vrdhi, which means increase, maybe we could do a sutra a day. My copy has an explanation. Our vrdhi. All right. Okay. I see my lesson is not welcome. We'll do other things. Well, let me know if you get to a question. Perhaps I can answer. I certainly have not mastered the whole thing.
너희와 나.
Let's do some Hindi still. So, do you then know the derivation of this word vriddhi? What are the bits? If you would, please. Sutra 2. A, E, O, R, Gurna. Yep. Okay. Vriddhi. Noun, feminine. How many morphemes? What are they? What is they or are they? What is are? It, they. All right. There is a verb. It's quite interesting. There's a verbal root. Vrdh. The R is vocalic. It's in that position. It's right. It's the one next to a non-vocalizing consonant. Dh. So R will vocalize there. And the suffix is a T. That's it derives a feminine noun from a verb root. And we have it in the Latin tionem ending, which gives our ion invasion, nation of invasion, and so on. Those words. It's an extension of this old Indo-European T derivational suffix. So note the sound change that takes place when the final murmured one, the, meets the basic T shape there. Okay, was looking for but did not find. There we go. Yep, been a minute. Do you have the text in Devanagari, or is it all Roman, or what? And what year was it first published? And a checkpoint. Grass, I think, is khas.
घास,
To be big, chota. I believe it's masculine. This is a Sanskrit word. Chota. Badi.
बड़ी,
Bada, rather. Okay, khas, feminine. What's the story there? So this is the g consonant with, right, 2 A's for the long a, and then we just type S space, gives me khas. Not excessive khas. So it sounds like a bit like gas, but it's a word for grass. From a root eat, devour. This is related to Greek xenos and hostis in Latin, for the stranger, the enemy. In Hindi, Urdu, feminine. In Sanskrit, ghasa. This kind of derivative with the long, apparently long grade. This is an old Indo-European O grade noun. That's why it's not a palatal, but a velar, gh, and that's why it's long. In an open syllable, the short o lengthened. So this looks like an Indo-European kyoso, meaning food, meadow, or pasture grass. All right, Levi, do you know the order of the cases and the basic, so the underlying forms of each case ending? Order question. We may have talked about this once many months ago. It's a traditional order that arranges things very elegantly, and the 21 basic, what they are is case, number, portmanteau, to plural with X, for instance. So each one is a series with a singular, a dual, and a plural. There's a position in the paradigm, and you have one exponent for each, all the others being derived from it. Starting with su, au, jes. Book's original printing, wird means to grow, to increase. German werden is this verb root, I believe. Werden, to become, to come into being. Don't know what the Latin and Greek cognates are. Original printing not listed, 2019. Devanagari, like 3 paragraphs. Okay, cool. Sounds awesome. So we have here the instances of these endings. Like I said, a set of 21, or maybe I guess just 18. Different possible word forms with some homophones happening. So the traditional order is well chosen. Su, au, jes, aute. This is retroflex. Capital means that it's never pronounced this way in a final word form. This is just a sort of grammarian's diacritic on a morpheme. Sum, jes. There's never a J in this ending. The phonetic part of the morpheme is us, lowercase. And the J pertains to certain sutras, rules that apply to forms with this marker. Aurt, and then shus, palatal. These are different. Sometimes the stem shows different forms, even though the phonetic forms of these suffixes themselves are identical. Us. Word final S is actually barred in Sanskrit, but the grammarian treats it as this. And then it's inst for instrumental. Da, it's that one, also retroflex. Bhyam, bis, dative. Nge, I think. Pyam, pius, ablative. Nus, I believe. So you never hear a n, but initial eng is non-existent in Sanskrit, so it's a convenient label for a grammarian. So it's duh. There are no native words, or a vanishingly small number of things that begin with a duh or a n sound. So, like I say, convenient to express a very specific, to identify a very specific thing within a single syllable. That's an obsession of Panini's. It's brevity. This one has two non-phonetic markers, and the n and the e. No, that's not right. That's the next one. We'll get to that. Pyam, the third one. So you see the homophones in the dual. Pyam, pius, and here homophones in the plural number 2. G, like I say, is on a different footing. It's a non-core argument. Yeah. It's not really for the verb to use of, but modifying a noun. Here the basic exponent is ngasi, os, and then locative, subtami. So in Sanskrit, they're just numbered, first, second, third cases, and so on. Pratami, pratami, dvitiya, tritiya, chaturtha, panchami, shashti, and saptami vibhakti for gender. Is that the let me get that in a more readable form here. Is that the capital ones like the syntactic use of X? Yeah, it is kind of, my usage is inspired by that a little bit. It's a not phonetic, but a sort of diacritic grammarian's identifying tag. The technical name for them is IT. I-T. These are called IT markers, the capitalized letters. And they're one of Panini's means of achieving his awesome brevity. And then for locative, it's ngi. So here the E is phonetic. The basic exponent of locative singular is suffixing an E. Os, and then, yeah, os here. And final, su. So I'd say, if you could, jot these down. Let me just put that whole string in the chat. I don't know. Memorize that. It'll be very useful as you read his sutras on noun inflection. And they are in one of the sutras. That's not like book 4 or something. I haven't memorized it yet. This string of things. So just subtract nam, ak, and so on. It's su, ojas, archas. It lists them in a sutra. And you need to know that it's 3 forms for each case because it's singular, dual, plural. Alrighty, some Hindi. The grass is big. So feminine noun, I was surprised there by word 2. What an enlightening lesson already. I haven't even done a single one right. And then hai.
मैं सड़क पर चलता हूँ.
It's an evaluation, or whatever it's called, checkpoint. May I, sarak, road, par on, chalta hai, hoon, I'm walking, I walk. Hello, genki, hi, genki desu. Rikashe-san mo genki desu ka? Hello, Monsieur Genki. That's great. A trilingual greeting. I should match it with another, I suppose. What are you in the mood for today, Ricochet? We're doing a bit of Hindi at the moment. Might talk about some Sanskrit a bit more here and there.
चलता.
And probably go back to Korean before long. Yokatta desu. Okage-sama de. リカシさんは今どこですか？どこにいますか？ I wouldn't say doko desu. Where is it that you are? I don't know. Where is it? If you don't mind. I don't mean to pry. It's fine if you don't. If you'd rather not say. I'm in Dallas. For those who don't know, it is just after 11 p.m. So you can tell by my dark abode, maybe. I guess not. I could be in a darkened room. Ah, naruhodo. Naruhodo. Indeed. 私はバンクーバーに住んでいます。カナダのバンクーバーですか？ Getting pretty polyglotty. सड़क पर चलता हूँ. I walk. Oh, Duolingo probably thinks I'm cheating and looking things up. I'm taking so long. I walk. This is the habitual one, right? Just 2 words. チャルタホン。そう、カナダのバンクーバーですよ。わかりました。Not much to understand. リカシーさんがどんな言葉を勉強しますか？日本語の外にどの言葉ですか？सड़क पर चलता हूँ. I walk on the road. So a nice thing if you know Japanese and are curious about Hindi, a nice feature is that the word order is basically the same. Topic, comment, of course, and then verb last. Any sort of head of its phrase comes at the end. Well, there's post-nouny things too. Tomater. There's no word for the.
टमाटर,
And then Rohit. Lal is what's red. Lal.
लाल,
Sanskrit Rohita or Lohita for red. It's cognate with the word red. No, Rudhira. Yeah, I think a different grade of it. Sanskrit will sometimes have several derivatives with similar meaning of a single verb root. Very imperceptible shades of variation. And another common feature is the RL variation. It was regional, maybe, or socio-linguistically significant. ごめん、もう一度お願いします。質問は、リカシさんが今、どの言葉を勉強しますか？どの what kinds of どんな it's not quite it どの but which ones 言葉 how's it written? So I'm using a graphic lookup if you're not familiar. Designed for Chinese, but I get my kanji here first. And you have to picture the thing in your mind, which is failing me at the moment. Kotoba is arbitrarily written. I think it's the speech one and then leaf, right? T and then PTD. Kotoba. どの言葉を今勉強しますか？勉強 and you KS ちゃん勉強しますか？ And then I go for step 2 over here to this keyboard. 言葉は we could ask here をどの勉強しますか？ I could just install a little thing in the browser extension, but I enjoy the didactic purpose of showing. Alright, so by the way, Levi, that set of endings we were just going over, that's what underlies here. These ones a noun paradigm like this. Su means s, that's added, and it becomes a visarga. Gha, saha for nominative singular. Looks quite different, but this ha is derived by a series of rules in Pahnini's grammar. Later sections, I believe. टमाटर लाल है.
उसकी बेटी घर में है.
उसकी बेटी घर में है. Is her daughter घर में, house, in, just like you do in Japanese. Noun, postposition, へ. 何でもいいですよ. But which are you, in fact, working on? I appreciate the latitude of interest there. That's what I'm hoping to find here on Twitch, is people who want to sort of soak it all in. It's so easy to do on Duolingo. And I picture kids who are, I don't know, 5, any age really. The younger the better, because the more linguistically plastic your mind is, the younger you are. If you just sit a young child down in front of Duolingo for a little bit, not for too many hours, but it's so easy to learn the things, to absorb, to practice, get repetition, and build up skills with it. That generation will be one to be feared for their linguistic prowess, I think. Uski beti ghar mein hai. His daughter, her daughter, ghar mein, in the house, is. She eats a carrot. She is. Yeah.
वो.
Okay, so fusion of the H and the there to an O. Wo.
वो.
And then carrot. Oh, we were talking about that one. Jagar, isn't it? Has a G in it, I remember.
गाजर.
Gajar. Starts with a G. Gajar. And then eats. Khati hai. There we'll express the gender.
खाती.
On this one. Khati, the E suffix feminine.
है.
She is a carrot eater, I think.
वो देख रही है.
Dekh rahi hai. Dekh is seeing. He sees.
देख.
Watching. And here, rahi with this third word now, a 3-word verb phrase. Dekh rahi hai. He stays seeing. He is staying seeing. Means he's seeing it now. She rather, because feminine rahi is looking at it now. This is an egg. Yah anda hai. Ek anda hai. Yah.
यह.
This, sorry, kind of odd to ask. Never asked your name. Tyler, nice to meet you. 本当にごめんなさい. How do we say? 何でもないです. Nothing. No biggie. I prefer to actually be anonymous. I'm not trying to build up my this channel or myself on this, with my government name as my persona. But since you ask, I will gladly tell you. That's what my parents and my friends call me. This is an egg. So topic is just the one word yaha, and then to be an egg is our comment.
एक. अंडा. है.
Rikashi-san no namae wa nan desu ka? Levi has been upfront about his name and where he is on Twitch.
मैं आज घर आ रहा हूँ और तुम अमेरिका जा रही हो.
But anyway, the school where I teach is Language Institute, so that's what the channel is called. We may branch out into other sort of activities and games here in the near future. So far, it's been all this VerbAlly project for all the languages on Duolingo. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff here on our website, our homepage. So that's why we're called Lango. The project really is called VerbAlly. That's just how I've been introducing myself. And Lika says, if you want to be more anonymous, could you use Korean name? Hai. So this name. More anonymous. Like that. That's a thing of degree. I suppose it is. A cline of anonymity. Not so absolute as the word might lead you to think. almost exist. Be more existent, though. That would be a more paradoxical one, right? Would you care to be a bit more existent today? Doesn't quite work. So may, with this more
मैं
diphthong, is the I pronoun. Aaj har ghar. Aaj, adverb today.
आज
Ghar,
आ
aa raha hu,
हूँ
coming home today. और तुम अमेरिका जा रही हो. And you, 日本語で私の名前はRika. Oh yes, I remember now. That hence the. I'm sorry, I forgot. That's clever. So a lot going on in this one. Two sentences conjoined by. It's ni. Ne. Sorry, I'm mixing Korean in there. Arigatou gozaimashita. Woo! Light speed code switching for my 40-year-old brain. Some of the languages I have much more deeply embedded, but Hindi, just the last 2 years, what I've been able to pick up here on display. Aaj ghar.
जा
So this is really nice. Have we talked about where this comes from? This verb to come, this verb root here, raha hum.
आ
It was the prefix in a Sanskrit verbal compound. Use your real name, that's fine too.
अमेरिका
So let's get this one. Or is misleading. Sounds like or, but means and. I'm going home. I'm coming home today. Or and. Tum America ja rahi ho, and you're going to America. The three verb phrase for the progressive English. Is progressive. You're going, and note ja is just a transitive verb, doesn't need a postposition on America. Going to America. Do औरत औरतें, plural.
तुझे और मुझे आम चाहिए
तुझे और मुझे, to you and to me. आम चाहिए, mangoes are desirable. We want mangoes. Oh, how nice. Okay, let's scratch that Japanese itch that has now arisen. Japanese is so wonderfully complicated to write, to decode, and encode. 日本語の名前は平です。この漢字です。MFJ. It's the first kanji name. It was given back in 01 or 02. Taira is an actual proper name in Japanese culture. So it comes pretty close to Tyler. Taira desu. So that kanji is basically hira, and you have pa-ira, which was written in the previous historical eras as ta-hira. Between vowels, that H would drop out. Don't know what the ta is, per se, but that's where that name comes from. So we'll keep the same word order as we've had for Korean and Hindi, but just totally different vocab and writing system. Omoshiroi desu ne. I think so. It's such a nice compound. Omoshiroi. So if you're not familiar with this, do you teach Japanese also? Yeah, it doesn't need to be that input. This website, I've had, with a couple students now, some success in getting people to sort of bootstrap and light speed learn to write kanji, to break down and build up kanji. Finding it very useful that it, okay, yeah, someday. This one is really, really elegant, love how it works. So if you scroll down on this link, it gives you the whole keyboard layout. Basic kanji for each letter, and then other shapes are seen as variants. For instance, okay, now another good resource, Q Hanzi. These are both basically for Chinese, but it's got a Japanese. Yeah, we're on the. Now let's go to the Japanese one specifically. There's other sites that do this too. What was I? That's one thing. Okay, talking about the variants. So letter Y here on the keyboard, you'll see is this prognostication radical boku. These two strokes. So it gets that character, which is not that frequent. But whenever you come to this type of a shape, that's treated as a variant of Y. It's just the same thing rotated 90 degrees. Likewise, letter A is Nichi, the sun. And another variant that you can write with it is this rotated 90 degrees form, whenever that occurs. For instance, in this character, which occurs in names, occurs in the word for tail in Chinese. But this top component is a variant of A, and the lower part is a variant of the mountain U. So for each one, there's up to 5, 6 variant forms. So you're looking at around 100 discrete shapes that you memorize, and it lets you break down any kanji that you encounter, whether you've seen it and studied it before or not. You just see it on, upon looking at it. For instance, this one for ki. Got a lot going on. Is that too far away? I believe it's kagi, used for that in Japanese. Kagi. Yeah, no, with the slash there maybe. Hi. That's what it is. Okay, so you break it down. It's got gold as the first component. That's a C, and then you're allotted 3 more strokes. You've got this bow-shaped thing, N, K for the crossing, C, N, K, and then it's got to end with a Q. C, N, K, Q. Maybe I've never done that one before. I don't know. But just from looking at it, you have a good idea how you can retrieve it here. C, N, K, Q. There it is. The key. Kagi. Over here, you could write it all out by hand. The gold radical and so on. A bit cumbersome, but good teaching tool there too. And let's just cover a lot of ground in this course. Let's go Japanese. Alright, Park Cohen. Levi had a good mnemonic. Picture Leonard Cohen playing guitar in the park. Studying on Jisho how to write them. Good. Yeah, a very excellent resource. Oh, I can just read it here more handily. Different definitions. Yeah, it's just so much at a time. Combinations. Wanikani for studying how the kanji are formed. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. Let's check it out. Sounds like fun, but I don't recognize that as a Japanese word. It sounds Hawaiian. Tofugu. Wanikani. Can I just jump in, learn more? Oh. Method. Let's take a look at it. Radicals. Yep. Yeah. Gotta know those. One of the... and then kanji vocabulary. Yeah. Kanji is great, but never useful without vocabulary. It's true, they're distinct things. You have to master the vocabulary as its own thing, as well as all these things. Spaced repetition. Yeah, very good. Okay, I don't want to bore everyone by signing on there, but thank you for mentioning it. Good to know about it. I, just for my background with it, I started learning Chinese a little before I moved to China in 05, lived there for a year, and then starting 07, yeah, is that right? No, in 06 I would have moved there. 06 to 08, a little more than a year, I was in Japan. And I taught English both places, but tried to pick up a bit of Chinese and Japanese, what I could, within those years that I was there. So it's a real advantage coming at Japanese, knowing already how the characters work, and several thousand words or whatever. And then I just became endlessly fascinated with why the correspondences are the way they are. Some of them are quite odd, others are really close. Koen. Park. So it just consumes your brain, or it doesn't, I suppose. The kanji, Chinese characters, civilizes your mind as it passes through, and you have to, in order to master it, just obsessed with them. Puru. contrast to the more recent borrowings from English. I love it when English words have kanji spellings.
プールで泳ぎます。
プールで泳ぎます. I swim in a pool. So the de is a really flexible particle. Locative, instrumental are big ones.
今週の土曜日、公園に行きませんか？行きませんか？
Shan't we go? Aren't we going? 今週の土曜日 on Saturday this week or just this Saturday. Shall we go to the park? So for another taste of this graphic input system, 3개. Let's look at koen. The ko public on the left. It's a variant of gold on top, C, and then I on the bottom. That retrieves. So it breaks these down into those two parts. The N, the enclosure, garden, W for the outer wall, and then inside G for the ground, R for the mouth, V for that bottom, whatever, nameless, meaningless thing. But that just that sequence, that configuration of strokes in the lower third of the enclosure. So WGRV retrieves that. Sometimes you'll get two or more characters with a single string of letters, but very often it's very precise, zeroing in on a single thing.
行きませんか？
今週、彼と一緒にプールに行きます。
So here, different from English, 一緒に. When you see ni at the end of a thing, you're really looking at a noun. So togetherness, I guess, would be the meaning of this compound. 一緒, like one bundle is what this
と一緒に
something tied up. This week, him with, 彼と一緒に together with him in the unitedness. プールに, that's for the
Ni.
destination. 行きます. I'm going to the pool with him. I'm just going to read those same noun phrases in the reverse order to come up with a good English rendering. To the pool with him, and then the last bit is 今週 this week. So that happens quite a bit. That if you were just rework your way through the Japanese as if it were Hebrew or Arabic written that way, get a pretty good English word order.
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
For the topic coming last instead.
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
Another one together with so and so.
彼女と一緒
I'm depriving myself of all the fun. Hang on. I don't want this. I want to input it.
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
Enjoy the difficulty of it. George Carlin had a really great line as to doing the more difficult thing. He said, if the point of climbing Mount Everest is that it's hard, why do people always take the easy route up? Levi says, many of the radicals are the simplest kanji, hai, and they help you break down the more complex ones. I suppose, in a manner of speaking, they do. They're certainly very useful to remembering the meanings. You know, if you're all your your car-y things together, your fishy things, all in the same sort of drawer in your mind, united by that shared graphic component. It's really wonderful.
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
So the 彼女. Now I'm so entrenched with this tangjie that I've been learning since last year. I read it aloud when I'm dictating a character, sort of. So let me do it. First stroke, of course, H, bamboo variant, and then the person down here, hito, is written O. H-O, kanojo. Okay, Japanese puts this H stroke next. But the right side is read as top to bottom. D, this crossing. H, the downward. E for this mata shape. That's a really lopsided one. But it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to get the thing. 彼女の一と一緒に何をしますか？
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
公園を That's interesting. So 散歩する to take a walk, and the park is the direct object. They bestride the park or something. They traverse it with their feet.
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
散歩. The scattering of steps is the meaning of this compound. That's a T shape on top. Below that, a B shape. And on the right, this figure breaks down as, okay, I need my pad. In terms of radicals, the one I'm going to do is number 66. O stroke, or O combination, and a K shape. Which did not register. Brain is full. Yeah, okay, now it's done it. Several of them. Sam, and then po is aruku. That's a Y shape that we saw. L, M. This would be an F for the small figure, and then H below that. Oh yeah, and Japanese has this stroke. This is the Chinese one on the left. Japanese here, the so-called simplified, has added a stroke to the traditional shape. Okay, we've got our kanji. Let's add the phonetics.
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
彼女と, oh, I forgot 一緒に. Let's get it here real quick. So, ichi is M. Sho is the silk on the left, VF. And then JKA for that shape. That's that kanji. So, up to 5 keystrokes will retrieve you any kanji. Alright. 一緒に phonetically 公園を散歩します. They walk the park. I guess we have that too. You walk a mile. I walked the stadium. Not hopelessly bad. You avoided the radicals. Just now rereading that and getting... Interesting that you would... Yeah, I mean, there's things you have to get by with just not knowing what certain things are. Because some things are just not known to anyone, really. There's always a story or two. But yeah, it's just so helpful. For the traditional radicals, like Anjisho, that's pretty close set to the traditional 214. Some modifications, right? That's not one in the 4-stroke section. But anyway, this type of idea goes back to a late 18th century Chinese dictionary. The idea goes back maybe 1,000 or more years of... The principle, sorry, goes back 2,000 years. The oldest dictionary used 600 or something radicals, and they've gotten more and more elegant, fewer sections over the years. Oh, let me do the whole sentence. Gosh darn it. 一緒に
一緒
公園
公園
秋
秋夏
秋 down step 白い
白いよく公園で散歩します。
よく is literally well, right? It's the adverbial to e or yoi, but it means often. Often park in, walk, do a promenade. I often take a walk, take walks. Take walks in the park. Okay, let's put a little thing. Fuyu is winter.
Fuyu,
Arai, the washing.
洗い、
Aoi,
青い、
the green, 一緒.
一緒、
And 公園。
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 彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
彼女と一緒に。彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
彼女と一緒に公園を散歩します。
You can see an example. Okay. How do I do that? Without an account. Seeing that delayed. Screen change over there. My monitor. Any more? Okay. Doesn't seem to register. Oh, misaligned. Join us. Okay, good. Very nice, thank you. Get it up here so everyone can see. Yep. Okay, it seems to be centering the Chinese derived readings, which is good. Ka. Tai ko 8235. Slash kanji, it'll blow it up, break it down. Oh, wait. Should I? Does that mean click? I'm not familiar with that notation, slash and then square brackets. But I'm intrigued. So, radical, big. Go to meaning, reading out. Big, large, good. A few nice short definitions are going to stick in the brain better, likely. The big radical and the big kanji are exactly the same. Interesting mnemonic. They're onyomi, dai dai, kunyomi o. Okay, here's what I consider a mnemonic. There's this big guy. That's how you remember the radical, remember? And he's wearing a huge tie-dye. This is what I'm here for. Kanji didn't become part of the link. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's pull it up on the shared screen. Oh, okay. You sent it with a particular one suffixed, right? And it just didn't. All right. Plenty to look at. It's a mansion with many rooms studying kanji. I really dig this tie-dye for the two readings. Beautiful. And it gives us another association to have with the kanji. I think this is great. So far, very impressed. Because he's so huge, the story goes on. The tie-dye shirt is also super huge. Everything about him is pretty big, but the tie-dye stands out more than anything. Yeah. When you look at the big guy in your head, this guy, imagine him covered in a tie-dye head to toe. Think about how ridiculous it looks on him, since he's such a big guy. It goes on and on. This is good too. Endlessly fascinating. The dog and fat, I suppose. Too much, excessive for this tai. It's a related word. And then found in these words. Good. So derivatives and compounds. Excellent. Rabbit hole upon rabbit hole. It's great. Yeah, it was all much more on paper, using paper printed books 15 years ago when I was first getting into the kanji game. It's wonderful. Just Jisho alone, what a great resource that is. I can't sing its praises enough. This looks really good, thank you. And there we go, the end of another. So, still pretty early in Japanese, probably not too interesting. This is stuff you're well familiar with, right? What else is interesting as far as languages? Where do you have maybe your foot in the door? Let's go a little further with Hindi for a moment. And let's see what other things we can connect to Sanskrit. Numbers, there's going to be plenty there. That's great. And that rarely heard number system from what my India correspondent tells me. Cha is 6. So it's interesting. It's got H in a coda. I think rare with most words. Absolutely. Happy to. Cha 6. In Sanskrit, the grammarian's form for this one is shirt with 2 retroflexes. That happy.
8 लोग हैं.
See excitement for Welsh. Art is 8. Loke, there are 8 people. They are 8. What do we want for this? There are 8 or they are 8. There are 8 people. And we need a verb. So, word for word, and we'll build up the phrases. 8 people. And then the last word is they are, plural. So it's numeral plus noun for the noun phrase. And that's all engulfed by the verb phrase. There's no topic mentioned.
6 गाय हैं. 6 गाय हैं. 6
Okay, interesting. For 6, guy, cow.
गाय.
Cows.
6 गाय हैं. हैं.
Let's do it. It's not not registering. So let's. Oh my goodness. Maybe I can do Welsh. Maybe not. My Chrome seems frozen. that's not happened before. Don't like that. Embarrassing. Never attempted to learn Welsh. The pronunciation of Llanfair it would be. So it's the Chromax. So yeah, not gotten that yet. Experiencing it now. Yeah, and including in the chat. I can see it, a lag. The spelling is very close to the sound. It's good phonetic representation of it. There's some confusion to me with the diphthongs. The thing spelled A-E. I don't know, is it always I? Maybe I'm thinking of Irish. There's a lot more ambiguity in Irish. So is this one showing? Yeah, that one's showing. Let's just open up a new and abandon that one. Completed Navajo. Very well done. Yeah, let's just go over to Welsh. And let's talk first about letter combinations. The C is always a K sound. Let's use for short CYMR for Cymraeg. Cymraeg. The R is a trill at the tip of the tongue, like in Italian. Cymraeg. Alright, and okay. Let's just do combinations for now. The CH is a Ch, a uvular one, really far down. Double D is the, as our voiced TH. Let's just put them in a row. EFF is a voiceless one. A single F is a voiced V. Irish names scare me. Not me, they fear me. Yeah, I understand though. We could do some Irish next. It's but a very complex orthography. But once you see what the deal is, it's actually quite elegant and beautiful, I think. But first, Welsh. We'll do one at a time. Okay, there's no G or GH spelling that I can think of. GK. The double L is a voiceless. Sla. Single L is voiced. La. Double voiceless. Sla. Same as with the F. I think those are the only significant letter combinations and double letters. But let's see what we come across. There's a few diphthongs. The vowel spelled with letter U is now an E sound. The Y is basically an E. But this can be an E as well, can be raised. Let's jump in. Once you know Irish spelling, Levi knows quite a bit about Irish. It is way simple and obvious, but it's quite opaque at first. Many seemingly silent letters are there just kind of to convey the quality of a consonant.
Dych chi'n mwynhau byw yng nghanol y dre?
That Y,
Mwynhau.
the W-Y there is a sequence of vowels, that's a diphthong, and AU spell is an I sound.
Dych chi'n mwynhau byw yng nghanol y dre?
Of course, there's an NG combination and even an NGH. Is that a voiceless velar nasal?
Dych chi'n mwynhau byw yng nghanol y dre?
I think it's a sequence yng nghanol with an onset H, so that's two distinct things. Doesn't belong on that list per se. And then W, the letter W also writes a vowel. That's an U sound. It's W. So E, U, or E for the Y. Dych chi'n mwynhau means do you enjoy in that order. Byw yng nghanol y dre. Byw is living, right? Living near the tree.
Yng nghanol.
In the town center. Yng nghanol in the middle. In the, like downtown. Town center. I'm going to use the British spelling. Dych chi eisiau? Do you want crwpan is crabs.
Dych chi'n bwyta'r granc?
Bwyta'r granc. Do you eat the crabs? The crab, I guess, singular. Dau elephant. That's going to be this. A saith llygoden. 7 mice. Llygoden. Double L is a th.
Dych chi wedi gwisgo?
Dych chi wedi gwisgo? Have you worn it? Have you dressed? Similar to Korean. Yeah, very good.
Dwi eisiau datws neu siocled.
The Slavic that you have in several languages.
Dwi eisiau datws neu siocled.
Dwi. So du, e, eisiau. Palatalization of the S to a sh.
Dwi eisiau datws neu siocled.
Datus is potatoes, spelled like this. E. What's the spelling there? Chocolate. Chocolate, like this. Chocolate.
Dwi eisiau datws neu siocled.
Oh, that's N-A-U. She's buying a new radio today. Okay, what's she is doing? This one's new. I haven't seen this before. It's a he. My heen. Yeah. My heen. Where we use that sound as a short yes. The okay. Yeah, the and Korean, you probably know. Their spelling of yes, the It's such a cool looking syllable. Okay, for Korean. E-U and the N. No, that's not that. E-U-N-G coda. So it's symmetrical or written that way. Japanese writes U-N. Okay, mahin and then buying is prini. Old Indo-European one. Mahin prini. And then it's going to be radio new today. Radio. Newid. Double D, interdental fricative. Heddiw. Today.
Naw aderyn.
Now aderyn. The now. Oh boy. Alright, aderyn. Is 90 degree Hebrew for horse. Yeah, very good. Do you want to get it first in the chat, please? The yes horse. Also looks, yeah, it's a rotation of the percent sign. No, I don't want to sleep. Nakadu is no. Dwi ddim eisiau. Do I need to shout. Do I ddim eisiau. Which percentage of yes is this horse? Fantastic. My horse is 110% yes. It's so yes that there is no doubt. Dwi ddim eisiau with no in prefix preposition, and then sleep. I don't recall. Kiski. C aspirated cup. This is keep happening. Oh, I bet I'm. Okay. Technical problems here. Kiski. Kus for that first syllable, and then ki. Voiceless gut there. Dwi ddim eisiau kiski.
Dwi'n hoffi bwyta cennin y bara.
Dwi'n hoffi voiceless bwyta. Cennin. I bara. With leeks and bread or something. I like eating leeks and bread. Given a pass. Alright. Irish for the apparent craziness, but real extreme irregularity of its spelling system. We did a Celtic session yesterday, and here we are again. Repeat offenders. It's just not fair. Which percentage of yes? Nay. Do you know that word? Sounds like an old word for no, but it's the sound that horses make, in case you don't know. Fits in there. So, let's do... We're there. We've made the transition to Irish. Verb present to.
Sábhailm na mrá.
Nice thing we just play it over and over. The BH, H just signals that a consonant is weakened without complete closure. Incomplete closure now. So instead of B, where it seals up the lips, saw W.
Sábhailm na mrá.
And then each group of consonants, each single consonant or group of them is either palatalized, in which case it'll be next to an I or E vowel letter, or it's non-palatalized, what we call broad. Slender means that it's palatalized variant. So in this word, sábhailm, only the final M is palatal. Mye.
Sábhailm na mrá.
It's not playing the single words in this one.
Sábhailm na mrá.
The accent marks length. Now, the N to R change is pretty out there, but it is what it is. Mna, written, plural for women, sounds like mra. After the M, the sonorants, I guess, what's the word? Neutralized. They all became R. After M, we see it also in trata from tomato and prata from potato. I believe, isn't it prata? Sábhailm. And what's this verb? I something the women I save. The women. But what are the lenitions? Different slender and broad sounds. Well, doesn't each consonant phoneme have distinct palatal and non-palatal allophones? Oh, are the lenitions that do? Well, what other lenitions are there? BHF? I guess just, well. What about S and SH? S has two, it's a S or sh, but that's not the result of lenition. Whereas the one spelled SH, I guess since that's no sound at all, right? Or is it an H sound? What about TH?
An sibh cáis.
Nielan, here we see mutation. It's basically Gielan. The I is both to write the sound, it's a long vowel E, but it also, and it colors the D to a J, as in Portuguese.
An sibh cáis.
We don't hear that here because it's been nasalized. And that's the influence of a preceding word or word ending on a sound, on a word initial sound.
An sibh cáis.
The way you can think of this N resulting from the D as reflecting the first word. Shiv, you plural, kosh, cheese. And this is sell. Do you sell cheese? Okay, and kosh too is a good instructive one. First consonant, k, is not palatal. The second one, the sh, is, so we write it with is. These two letters together represent sh. And the BH represents a V sound. Because this has the vowel I, it palatalizes both consonants next to it. Shiv are of the slender quality.
An muantú gachrad.
So the first part, there's no, actually the whole sentence has no palatal consonants.
An muantú gachrad.
All the velarized ones, the darker quality. An muantú gachrad. Buan means win. So do you win everything? The word order is very interesting too. Let's focus more on the spelling this go round.
Sábhailm an cailín an madra gach lá.
Verb is saves. Subject, the girl. Object, the dog. Every day is extra information. The girl saves the dog every day.
Dílamid fian agus a rán.
Dílamid, we deal it, we sell it, right? Anielan, we sell. This is a fused one. The ending mid shows that we is the subject. We are the subject, we is the subject. Who knows? Fian, wine, and bread. We sell. So when it's a fused verb, the word order is very close to English. Wine and bread. Fian, slender F, broad N, and that word fian from Latin.
Buan sé dúisina.
Buan sé dúisina. I like it too, yeah. Glad you agree. Try prizes. Dushana.
Buan sé dúisina.
You get such a broad palette, right? Such a wide range of available sounds. Every basic consonant there is occurs in those two colors, dark and light. Slender, D-O-T-S, palatal lines. Dots. Love it. C-N-L, palatal off-glide. That's a little opaque to me. B-H-M-H sound like V. D-H-G-H when they're palatal. Okay, that's a yeah. Can you explain C-N-L palatal off-glide, please? Dots. J, ch, sh, right, for those dental consonants? Oh, it's those consonants, I see. Palatal off-glide, such as... What's one with a C palatal? Scale? That kind of a thing. And with N... So, L, I hear it in jene, the word for shirt. I think I get what you mean. The consonant sounds K, spelled C, N, L. When they're palatal, we hear it as a cluster of the consonant with a yod. Liam, yeah, liam. Heard kjard, thank you. That one means certain, right? Certain or sure. Yeah, liam. The I palatalizes, one way to think about it and talk about it. The I has an action of coloring the L in liam, which means with me. Kjard, yeah, the E represents the ya and that bright quality on that ka. Buonshe dushana, and that sounds like showers, but it's prizes. He wins. She means he wins prizes. So a lot of different plural endings too. Do you have with that, Levi? Yeah, that one's plural.
Díalan an fear dúisina.
Unfair, the man subject. So the F is slender, is what the E is there to tell us.
Díalan an fear dúisina.
Certain or sure is kjart. Thank you. Kjart means what? Thank you. Okay, interesting. I wonder where the RD comes from. Kjart, Latin certus. What about the plurals? Well, how many different markers are you aware? How many allomorphs expressing plurality on nouns? You've got buachal, buachali. E is a big one, but it's by no means the only one. I mean, like German has a lot. German really ultimately has about a dozen or so different ways you can show plurality. I couldn't list them all really quickly. I'd have to do a bit of head scratching. Let's look at that kjard meaning what? Are you kjart? Certain about kjart? What's what in Irish? Tell me what's what. This is a real who's on first type thing. So in Irish, what is what? Cut. Cad. Looks like Latin quod as far as the form. Irish. Kid from quid, compare quis. Kid in Old Irish. So that vowel is lowered a bit. Interesting. Díalan an fear dúisina. The man sells prizes. And the slender consonant and consonant groups. G, first one. F in fair, man. The sh here. It's not a coincidence that it has the I and the E next to it. If the one is there before it, then it's going to have a slenderizing letter following it too. You're always going to see that match on either side of a consonant or consonant group within a word. So O-L-A, the L is surrounded by dark, non-palatalizing ones. No, you can't have a mismatch in that regard. You've got the two consonants in the word fair, spelled like fear. The first one, F, is palatal, slender. The R is not. It's broad.
Buan na cálíní dúisina.
Kalini, so this has a light quality in the L and the N. Dushena. Buan, they win. The girls, this is a plural marker. E suffix long. Girls. Win is the verb. Dushena, plural prizes. Right. Maybe some more. Why not? We're already here. Let's enjoy it.
An gláanan sé nó an ghlanan a bhathair.
All right. The basic verb glanan starts with that G and the N to show mutation to a ng sound.
An ghlanan sé, nó an ghlanan a bhathair.
A slight vowel I hear intruding there between ng and l. Nglanan. She, subject he, no means or. Does he clean or on awahar? Does his mother? This is masculine possessor. It's a really interesting thing here. Let's get the meaning. Does he clean or no? Does the cleaning his mother? So basic noun here for mother, mahr, with plain M. In this construction, with this possessive pronoun, meaning his, we get this mutation, incomplete closure. A wahr, a W sound. What else I can think of, just leave it off the top of my head. I, ana, acha, yeah. And palatalizing the end. Fokal, exactly right, yeah. Very good. Fokal, singular word, and the plural fokai, just brightening it. So, liauer is another one that does that for book. That's a weakened B, spelled BH. That's the singular book, liauer. Plural looks almost exactly the same, but it now has hair, spelled H-A-I-R. The H is to soften the B. And the only the change in the to r tells us that it's the plural form. Very subtle, a bit like French, but more so. And that's one we see a lot at the beginning of this Irish course. It's the change in quality of the final. Buchal, what I've noticed is when the basic consonant in the singular is already palatal, that's when you see the E show up. So just E added and the palatalizing thing, in my mind, are allomorphs of a single morpheme.
An mórlann sibh leis gach sathran.
And what we were seeing the other day in Romanian is very closely parallel with their plural marking E suffix. It causes similar changes to the consonants.
An mórlann sibh leis gach sathran.
New verb, bualian, will be the basic form, to meet with. And I-E surround the L for this lenderizing. Mualian. An mualian shiv leis gach sathran. TH sounds like a H. It's not dental anymore. Centuries ago, it was probably a th. And then, what is it? They meet. Do you, plural, do you meet? Lesh means, does that mean together or with him? Meet with him. Yeah, lesh is special, or to me, right, unlike other cases, because it's both the absolute pronoun and the fused third singular. Is that right? Do you meet with him every Saturday? Saturday.
An gaileann sibh dúiseanna.
Do you have the mnemonic for eclipses? I do not. An gaileann sibh dúiseanna. Gaileann. Lose. Okay. Like lose ally in the spelling there. So basically it's a K, voiceless aspirated. Here the mutation triggers voicing, K to G. An gaileann sibh dúiseanna. Do you lose prizes? Cool question, brah. Bualiam leo ag mian la. So in these, right, these sequences of vowel letters can be a little bit doubtful, coming at an unknown word. There's little certainty about how to read it, but I think A is going to be a pronounced one. I think the U will be pronounced too, and I will drop the I, like miel. Bualiam leo today. I meet them. Oh, that's with them. Leo in Swahili is today. Ag mianle, in the middle of the day, at noon. I meet with them at noon. At midday. So the structure, oh, interesting. Midday is a close parallel. This is a Germanic compound. Mianla is the equivalent in Celtic, and it has the same order, unusually, for a compound. middle of the day. There's always an of implied relation in Celtic phrases.
Callan sé a chut gach ihe.
Callan sé a chut gach iches. Note how the A's are sounded differently in these two words. MBGC, ND, and GBP, BHF. My brother, oh how nice. My brother got caught not doing dishes tonight. Nobody gets blueberry pie before he finishes. Leo. Oh, cool. And is it also spelled Leo when we put it into Roman? I haven't learned the Khmer alphabet yet, but it's an Abugida, I think. Let's look at that. If I put in L-E, well, you may not be able to answer that there. Let's try it. L-E-O. Is that what we're after? So I note that the E vowel symbol goes before there. Khmer, thank you. Thank you. See how ignorant I am. Let me prove my ignorance for you. It's probably not that. That would be 2 syllables. Or is it 2 syllables? Okay, I see absolute vowel sign. Wait, I don't see them. That would be these Q initial ones, huh? Ah, e, ooh. Come on, I have heard that. Ri. Oh, these are the vocalic R. I just don't know how we spell it on it. Yeah, okay. Understand. It's not something you would have much occasion to do, but it looks like Q for a 0 initial one, right? Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for saying, Levi. Yeah. So I recognize the principles on which it's put together just from my knowledge of other writing systems in Southeast Asia. We're looking at Abugidas, where you've got basic consonant signs on one level of the script, and then these combining diacritics above, left, right, and sometimes below to indicate vowels. You find that from the Indus Valley nowadays, from writing systems in the Indus Valley down to, well, no longer Vietnam, but down to Southeast Asia there, that corner. So Tibet, I think, is like the northern boundary, roughly. And I know you have, or I've heard about, through a fellow student, Abugidas that were used in the Philippines for writing Philippine languages. Or if they went much further south than that historically. But a beautiful way to structure your writing system. It's like on 2 levels instead of an alphabet where vowels and consonants are symbols on the same sort of rung in the system. You've got this more nuanced combining kind of 2-dimensional action happening in an Abugida. Alright, back to boring old Roman, but fascinating Irish. Here it's a double. So double means long in Irish, right? A double L.
Callan sé a chut gach ihe.
Callan sé. And that was ally, help. He helps a chut, his cat, possessive marked with the mutation there, in conjunction with the a. Gach ihe, every night. He helps his cat every night. He lose ally. That's the one, not he helps. Aha. Basic form CAT. This lenition. Hold on to this mnemonic of Levi's. Did you get this in the Irish class, or is it one that your dad taught you? This Irish eclipsis mnemonic. You know, the eclipsis mnemonic. What a cool compound I've never heard before. Gets blueberry pie before he finishes. My brother got caught not doing dishes tonight. Nobody gets blueberry pie before he finishes. I want to shake the hand of the person who composed that. Give him a big ol' salute.
Gwanamid le chéile.
Clonamid, that's an interesting one. So, palatal at the end of the word, these 2 last consonant groups. The rest broad, not blod. Clonamid, we clean. Lecheile means together. That's a phrase. And so a theme for this lenition that we see in Irish is that it occurs within a phrase after some determiner in a noun phrase. Some little unstressed word up front causes a change, can often cause a change in the initial sound of the head noun. Lego says, yes, we probably encountered the mnemonics somewhere in our classes. Epic. That would be a great topic for a book for Lango to put out, just cool mnemonics for all your favorite languages. Or maybe geared to certain languages. Klonamich. Ricochet, if you seem somewhat knowledgeable about Korean. The first, actually 3 now, with this notebook included, with the purple cover on our website here under books. This one is mostly my contributions, the Peninsula one, and then our earlier ones, Some Fun, are collections of cross-language puns for Korean learners. Might be of interest too. Well, thank you. Very kind. Klanimit Lechela means we clean. Thank you. Lechela is a 2-word phrase. We'd say together. So something like in union, I would say. Le is not with. Lem, oh wait, le de hel. Yeah, that's with. Chela. What's Kayla then? Oh, question before we move on from Khmer. Is there tone marking? Is it a tone language? Are these tone marks? I assume this is some kind of punctuation or ornament. Beautiful. And the Q, I would guess, is for glottal stop. So, or I, o, ow, that kind of a thing. Ooh here. And this looks, it's R, long and short vocalic R, long and short vocalic L, which were needed for Sanskrit. Look at that. So a very rich set of consonants. Yeah, said to have the longest alphabet. 5, 5, 5. The inherited 25 there. Yada la wa, same order. 4 fricatives. La a. A second L? What's that? Aha, very interesting. Might have to read up on that later off stream. Don't know the alphabet. Oh, okay. Intriguing. Perhaps we can all learn together then sometime. We just want to see some actual words rather than just strings. Not a tonal language. Okay, good to know. Canimage. Well, I wish it were so easy. So I wonder, can you... Oh, I guess you wouldn't be able to. If you happen to know the difference between these L things. I wonder if one might be voiceless. But Wikipedia will probably be able to tell me. Canimage. Scanning one. By. Milshine, that's a plural. Leshen Arget. With the money. We buy candy, we buy sweets, we'll say. With, so lesh also for instrumental. By means of the money. And that's the basic preposition. Mashing consonants together. Indeed, yeah, that small matter. Mashing. That's a good way to put it. That's kind of what I do. Oh, thank you. Buying canimage. Okay, so here the kya and the mya ja are slender, palatable.
Caillim agad nuair a rithim le mo bhac.
This argid from Latin argentum, I do believe. So that's I lose money. Nur is when. During the running. During his running. When. Nura. Okay, treat that as a unit. Rishim, when I run with my son. So mak, basically, wak. Lemawak.
Caillim agad nuair a rithim le mo bhac.
So probably mak, singular. Kalim ergit nurarihim lemawak. I lose money when I run with my son in the fun. Yeah, rock son.
Bulamid leat.
Willamage.
Bulamid leat.
Williamage. Yeah, the L slender. Williamage.
Bulamid leat.
Willamage lat with you. We lose with you. Meet. Let's lose together. Lat is a fusion with you.
Gwanan na Kalini an skirta.
The girls clean the skirt. Glanan na kalini and skirta. Clean the skirt. This one, it looks a lot like the Norse ancestor. This skjorta would have been, I think, or yeah, with a yo diphthong.
Fágan na dlídorí airgid swala.
Okay, what was that? Get to leave. Nadlidari, the lawyers. Argid sawalya. Wait.
Fágan na dlídorí airgid swala.
Balya. Balya is at home. The lawyers leave money at home. Judges. Lawyers. Leave money at home. Verb to meet. Like in the phrase Ta she gojas bulachliat. Nice to meet you. Gojas is the nice part. It is nice. Bulachliat. Okay, that's an infinitive then, huh? Ending in a. Do they always end in DH?
Callan sé a chut gach ihe.
Okay, the different sounds of the letter A is what I'm going to draw attention to here.
Callan sé a chut gach ihe.
A and gach have the same one, but chot, a little rounder lips.
Callan sé a chut gach ihe.
He loses his cat, possessive. Cat object, and then every night. Gach ihe. Callan sé a chut gach ihe. Good jazz. So I hope maybe we've made Irish spelling a little bit less intimidating. But since you asked about Welsh, actually, spend a bit more time there. So we did Celtic yesterday for quite a while, and we're back at it. Celticling it up. Dialects, our next topic. Let me open the door for my feline friend here just a moment. Oh, we'll get some Welsh here. Be right back. And I'm going to grab a drink. Swahili first. Because I know this umelalaje means sleep. Okay, so what prefixes are we looking at? Me for we. There's no present tense. Maybe that's what me. U is we. No, U is you. Did you wake up? You woke up. So maybe
Salama. Safi. Safi.
Still getting loud there. Okay. Dialects, our next topic.
Hogyn oit ti.
Hogyn.
Hogyn.
So, it's verb initial, basically, Welsh is. But the verb now is in position
Oit.
2. Oit, you are. Yet another one meaning to be, maddeningly. Hogyn. Oh, did we do Welsh somewhere? No. Hogyn, boy, Uit are, T art thou. Are you a boy?
Dach chi'n gweithio ym Mangor?
Dachin, another copula form. Gweithio Mangor. This is mutated. What's the basic one? Do you recognize this place name, anyone? Dachin gweithio. Gweithio is working.
Gweithio.
Are you working in... Oh, this one's... Are you a boy? Kind of a rude question. Dach. Uvular. Chin. Gweithio. Mangor. In Mangor is not the name of the place in English. Do you work? What is it? Well, here I've got to reveal it. Do you work in Bangor? So nasalization. In Irish, you keep the B there.
Mangor.
And an extra letter, but in Welsh, you replace the consonant with the actual sound.
Hogyn.
Hogyn, boy. Oops.
Hogan a hogyn.
Hogan, girl.
Hogan.
Cool. What's the structure? Or we can just say girl and boy. Can I make it any more obvious?
Dydy Megan ddim yn gwenu nawr.
Question form with maybe a reduplicated verb? Is Megan not gwenu?
Gwenu.
Smiling.
Nawr.
Is not Megan smiling now?
Dydy.
Bit odd. Isn't Megan smiling now? That's not a question. It looks like it because the verb is first. So yet another form of the copula. That's it. I give up. Just kidding. Dydy Megan them negative preposition in gwenu smiling nawr. Megan isn't smiling now.
Ydy Owen yn mynd allan rwan?
The difference in the vowel sounds for the Y letter, Eddie.
Ydy Owen yn mynd allan rwan?
So it's a prefixed or fused form of the verb.
Ydy.
Added. Owen. Is Owen going allan rwan?
Allan.
Out.
Rwan.
Now.
Allan.
Cool. So the W with a circumflex above. Don't know what that really represents. Is Owen going out now?
Merch.
Is that running? To run?
Merch.
A girl.
Ydy'r bachgen yn hoffi chwarae rygbi?
Chwarae playing?
Chwarae.
Ydy'r bachgen.
Bachgen.
Huh. Such richness of terms. Bachgen. Is the boy in hoffi? Does he like playing rugby? So the verb, a verb here like hoffi, is kind of both a verb from its meaning and a noun because it's governed by a preposition. It's not inflected. This is the inflected one at the front. She is going now. So my hin mint nawr. She's going now. It's word be, she, in, going now.
Hogan dwi.
Hogan dwi. I'm a boy. I'm a girl. Hogan with the a. Are you working in the office now? Dichin or dachin gweithio'r swyddfa nawr. Dichin gweithio yn y swyddfa rwan also. Dachin, okay, this is a dialect thing, I bet. Rwan versus nur. Nawr, rather. Oh, look at that. they're backwards spellings of each other. Ruan and Naur. Dach and dich. I guess they belong to different dialects of Welsh. Could it be that chwarae looks like none of the three Irish verbs of to play? Chwa could come from an old swa in Celtic, I think. Let's look that up. Oh my, 12:30. Yeah, let's end it after this unit. Eyes are getting a little sleepy. Chwarae. Guess you've got a few more hours before it becomes scandalously late there in Vancouver. I want to know the origin. Scroll right past it. Gwari. In Cornish and Breton, Gwari maybe? Don't really know. Breton lemmas, Breton verbs. Yeah. Dunna. A boy. Saucer words. Hawkin. Do you work in Bangor? Dachin gweithio Mangor. And note that both the preposition and the proper noun are mutated. Is the basic form, I think. Maybe not. Could be saying things that aren't true. Is it and are they separate words or variants? Should add Britain on. Yeah, we should add them all. The more the merrier. Egyptian, Welsh. Preposition form of used before bilabials. Mwah. So, what I'm saying is, what I'm realizing about Welsh grammar is when you have a sequence of words, and it's important that they be within the same phrase. Our ingredients are the word for in and the name Bangor, in a prepositional phrase. The outcome of this is Mangor. So both of these sounds coming in contact become a third one that is a sort of compromise. Ma. It's got the nasality of N and the labiality of the B. How cool. Double mutual assimilation. Girl, Dennis Fechkin Merch was one. Well, that kind of reminds me of Mädchen. Replace D with R. Are they working? Mein hun, ydyn hun gweithio Mangor nawr. There we go. Welsh was one of the inspirations for Tolkien's Elvish, I believe. They should have, yeah, okay, I already read that. Looks like it was added. A girl, Merch. Bachgana Merch.
Hogyn.
Hogyn boy.
Dydy Megan ddim yn gwenu nawr.
Megan is not smiling now. Sounds like The View. Needs more smiles times. Alright, I'm gonna hit the hay. Thanks very much for joining. Hope we see you soon in the near future. And a good night, everyone.